Okay, welcome to the blog for Wednesday, the 22nd of August, day 53 of 65 of the Compound Effect Challenge. Making forward progress every single day, applying my edge, applying my method, making sure I do all the little things right, make a conscious awareness to do the little things, and that way gain that momentum to really move ahead and achieve the goals that I've set out for myself. So here's the trading strategy. Today overall I had 7 trading areas that I looked at. Not necessarily all going to be turning into trades, but overall 7 basic areas that I looked at. Of those, 3 turned into trades. And I'm looking at it going within this day that there's quite a bit happening. I don't think there's too many days when I take 3 trades. Occasionally it's the case, but normally 1 to 2 trades a day. And certainly 3 starting to get up there. But think about all these. I was thinking about all these areas that are coming up. But what I do when I'm sitting here watching these charts is just thinking about each strategy and focusing on the strategy at hand. So basically, strategy one's that continuing of the trend mid-range. So just looking at these key levels and getting the market going with the trend or direction. And then strategy 2 is that same sort of deal, continuation, breaking the, but in relation to the highs or lows. And then strategy 3, again at sort of the high low areas, but it's mean reversion, so coming back into the range and not breaking the high or low point. So what I'm doing is I'm going through, I'm thinking about each of these strategies and just applying the specific strategy to the area. So it's not like I'm constantly keeping a lookout for these 3 strategies, which equates to about 6 different setups. I'm just taking each strategy as they come. So while we're mid-range and dealing around a key level, I'm specifically thinking about continuing trend and making sure I'm with the direction, with the moving average. If we move on from there, get to the highs, looking what the other markets are doing. If the other markets are there with me, confirming that we're potentially looking to break the high and low, then I'm focusing on this and looking for the blueprint of this area here. Now, if that's not the case, if some of the other markets are getting a bounce and looking like they're going to come back in the range, well, I'm disregarding the high-low breakout areas, and then I'm over to mean reversion or looking for the market to come back into the range. And there was a couple of examples today of 2 low points, where I could look at trades, and one I'm very much looking at the breakout trade or potential breakout trade, and then the other one definitely not the breakout trade, looking more at mean reversion, but I'll go through those. So here we are in the range that we're dealing with around today. First of all, the key levels 1413, 1408. This is something I think 1408 was just a key level today. The market has dealt around it so many times. You can see it's come down and used its support here. It's used it as resistance here for a trade. Used it almost to tick as resistance again. Then it's launched itself from here as well. So just kept on dealing around this 1408. It's a real key level, something that's very significant in the market at the moment. And then below that, we never really got down there, but certainly had eyes on the market going down towards 1403, and had one trade with my target set down there, but which didn't come off. But that's some of the key levels that dealing with it at the moment. You can see 3 trades, so 1, 2, 3, which I'll get into, and then these other little arrows. So this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4 other potential setups, which I always want to point out for myself to go through. So for the day, 1 winning trade, 1 break-even trade, which I was just trying to let it go and looking for a big R multiple trade or a big profitable trade. Went about 10 ticks and then ended up coming back on me. I'll go through that one. And then 1 loss as well. The loss was at the beginning of the day. So here I've got this breakout box. So looking for my directional breakout trade. Now I'm really thinking about this area. I love this area, but I'm just thinking of the way I approach it and looking at something that's a little bit more systematic, I think. But as far as today goes, these markets all started heading down. It got 4 ticks outside of this breakout box with all the other markets going down with it. So I look for, place the order on here, look for it to get it as a resistance, and then the market to continue and on that downward direction. In the end, it's come back up within the range, and it's not to be the case. As far as the trade, I'm more than happy with it. All the indicators were there for me. But just another way of approaching it, I feel that might be better, because what's happened is I've looked at this area over the last 2.5 weeks, and this is what I tend to do is think out loud and break it down for myself. So this is not necessarily something that regards to my actual physical trades, but any areas I'm looking at and looking at how I can do better. And I've taken this specific trading area over the last 2 weeks plus this half week, so the last 2.5 weeks, and of those I've had 3 trades that's hit the entry price, hasn't filled me, then gone 10 ticks plus. I've had another one that's come within 1 tick, so basically four trades where I'm just sitting there and worked, it hasn't filled me. Um, I've had one full winner and then 3 stop outs. So meaning one winner in the last 2 weeks, one winner, 3 stops, and 4 trades that were just sat there and missed it. So that's a potential of a lot of points there. So I'm sitting here adding it all up, going, with 3 losers, it starts to look not the best for myself. But then I look at all those potential trades I missed, and I've spoken about this area a few times with a few of my different other trading areas where I'm just sitting there on a limit order, just potentially sitting there where I'm going to miss a lot of trades, and then of course if it comes back, fills me and wants to be a stop out, well, I'm not going to miss any of the stop outs, and so that's what I've seen happen over the last few weeks. So I'm looking to take a little bit of action in regards to that. So I might just adjust it a bit and apply a bit of an entry that I use from a reversal, basically where we form a pivot point. So let's say the market comes down here, pops back up like this. If it comes back at this same point, all the other markets are already breaking this point, then I'm going to get on it. So I don't want to miss the opening direction. I think it's a fantastic area to look at. But I need to look at a way where it's, for myself, giving myself a lot better chance and not almost sitting there a bit like a sitting duck, so to speak, which has certainly happened over the last 2 weeks. The same sort of thing happened on the upside. As it pushed up like this, it's come back, it's left a bit of a pivotal point there. What I'm looking at is if all the other markets want to come through and break that area, then I'm prepared to go on it and sort of have my order there waiting. So it's a stop order, as in rather than a limit order. And stop orders you're guaranteed to fill. And so it's taking the same area, just adjusting it slightly. So I'm getting the probability or the percentages working a bit better for me. So something I'll look at in that region there. I mean, the market eventually has come a tick past this area here, but I was watching other markets, none of them were really pushing through and breaking through that area there. So anyway, certainly learning a lot from this area here. Love the concept, just got to look at working with my numbers a little bit better there. So one stop out there, then the markets come down. What's happened around here? So as this market's come up, it's a little bit harder to see on the 5-minute chart, but basically we've formed a bit of a pivotal point just right here where the market's tried to launch itself and go higher from. I haven't physically got a set up here, but I'm seeing this as a potential area of a buying area where the market should start to really head up. If all of a sudden it comes back, starts breaking this pivot point, I'm looking at taking the sell on this particular area. But what I need is all the other markets participating and pushing through this area. So a couple of them were, and then one of them wasn't. So for that reason, the trade eventually would have went about 10 ticks or so, but for that reason, I couldn't get an entire setup. So I left that one alone there as far as a reversal sell. But what happened with any sort of the breakout trades or reversal trades where I'm relying on other markets, because there was this real difference between the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. One was really on the upside, one was really on the downside. There was never complete market support in any of these areas, meaning they weren't all going together, even though the market kept on pushing down. I think it was the NASDAQ just kept on hanging to the upside, and as a result, didn't mean I had complete market support on the downside. So it meant a reversal trade and a breakout trade down here I was not able to get, even though the setups were there, the blueprint was there, they both worked. It was just a NASDAQ that was missing all day long, but that's the rules I've set, so I'm more than happy to go with that systematic approach. So couldn't take the reversal there because of the NASDAQ. The market's pushed through, so now I'm looking mid-range. So obviously the market's come back, made a bit of a low here, but we popped right back up at least 2 points from the low, so that's basically the bare minimum as far as me looking mid-range. It's dealing around this key level here. So place the order then on there as momentum. You see moving average just pointing to the downside, but I was happy with that. Sometimes when it's like that and there's not a clear direction, it's one to leave, but I mean direction was very much on the downside and the moving average is slightly pointing down. So for myself, that's fine. It met my rules. Had my order sitting there. It's come up, collected the order, and then eventually it's pushed down. This one here, it's gone 10 ticks exactly. 10 ticks is normally where I like to get out. So I'm not sure whether I would have got out because I didn't have my profit target at 10 ticks this particular case. Maybe there was no fill there. I'm not sure. But when I was looking at the 15-minute charts, this is a potential area where I believed that the market was heading down. So I just want to bring out the 15-minute chart. So before we had this up move here, you can see all this downward momentum. We're breaking down before the pre-market. We come up, use this area as a resistance, use it as resistance again, and we started really getting some momentum on the downside. A couple of times it looked like it wanted to break down, and so I was opening up my profit target and setting it for down here around the 1403 or 1404 is where I had it set, and looking for a what was it going to be, about a 4-point move. In the end, it hasn't come off, and it's ended up coming back and getting me out for a break-even trade. So then the market's come back again. Now at this stage, it's different. So what's happening is these trades, the momentum trade is based on like a 5-minute fade. We had an up move. The market's now pushing down, looking for it to come back quickly and continue that downtrend. By now, the market's continue to push down. You can see this moving average is crossed below the blue line. So I'm no longer looking for the fade setup because the market's getting a little bit more extended now. So what I need is I switch to almost like a 5-minute sell version. Okay, so the 5-minute sell never actually came up, but my version of the 5-minute sell has come up. Can push through this key level. I'm not really concerned what it does. You can see it's almost bounced off it, but I want to see it push off it, get some real strength off it, come back, uses resistance, and then sell. So what I did is had the order sitting right here, and again that one's missed by a tick. So where was it? I don't think I've marked it on this chart. 12.15. So I've got a line there marked for the breakout trade, 14.08. Here's the level here. So this is it here. So all of a sudden got some power off it, came back, just missed that 14.08 by one tick. So looking for the continuation trade or my version of 5-minute sell there, just missed. Then obviously the market's still looking on the downside, so I'm still keen on getting some sort of move on the downside here. Then I'll start switching over to the breakout trade. So my breakout trade, all of a sudden, what I do is I don't necessarily have to use the key level, but I use price action that's dealing around this particular area, and I need all the other markets supporting. So what I found is 1407 was on the level the market just kept on dealing around. We can see this sharp push through 1407. Look for it to come back, and I'd have the order sitting here at 1407 to sell. Now you can see this particular one, the blueprints work quite well. There would have been an entry there, but again the Nasdaq, because it kept on holding to the upside, was not supporting, so I didn't have all the market support. So for that reason, breakout trades, I need complete market support, so I just had to let that one go. From there, it pushed lower. So this is what I talked about before when I'm looking at individual strategies. So around here, once that continuation trade missed that one, I'm still looking at getting on the area in regards to now it's pushed a little bit lower. I'm looking at the breakout trade, and the markets were pushing lower, except for the Nasdaq. So the overall concept was, it was an opportunity for a breakout trade, even though I didn't take it in the end. But then pushed down here, and the market's pulling back here. Completely different. The markets just weren't hanging around, and what I did is I drew a same price action line on this particular level here. So here it is here. So this is the original breakout I was looking at. It's looking a lot better. The market's pushing through it, getting resistance of it, going lower. It's a great breakout area. This one here, this is the price action level. The market's just never getting underneath it. So what I need to see, the market's push through it, come back, use it as resistance. So I'm looking at this as a potential breakout, but I'm just seeing all the other markets starting to get a bounce. So I'm switching my mindset or my thinking from breakout to mean reversion and looking for some sort of trade to get on the buy side, and as this market looks to come back within the range. So that might sound pretty full on. Of course, this is just me interpreting my trading strategy. I've been developing this for quite a while now, so for me it becomes very clear. But as I'm explaining and walking through it and talking about my overview of the day, I realise there's a few people listening to it, so it might seem a bit full on. But don't worry too much about the details. Obviously, everyone needs details individually for their own trading systems. But as far as my details, if they seem to just be a bit of a blur, it's obviously it's because it's my trading area, and hopefully just some of the concepts or some of the things I talk about might give a bit of a benefit to you, or pick up a few areas here and there. I realise that might not completely understand every single area that I'm talking about. So mean reversion, so obviously this market's getting a bounce here. I'm watching all the other markets get a bounce. Then we start heading to the downside. So see the predictive average crossed down here. So my reversal trade says, okay, market's coming back up. They all look to go to the downside. So technically this is an area where they should sell from. But if they come back and put some pressure on this pivotal area here, I'm very keen and taking the buy at the pivot there and looking for the market to continue through. So that's my, I think, blueprint of one of my mean reversion setups. So this one here, I was watching the market just all kind of hanging around. All of a sudden they just took off like a rocket. And then I had my order sitting there. It's come back, picked me up, and got 10 ticks out of it. Then eventually it's come back. What I didn't realise, and this was a bit of a mistake on my behalf, and in the end it's paid off. I've got a bit lucky with it, but it's a news announcement came out, FOMC minutes, so that's why the market really started to take off. But I wasn't. I mean, I was aware of it, but I had forgotten about it. So I just had the order sitting there, and it's collected me. Got me. I've got 10 ticks pretty quickly. One I was looking to hold on for a bit longer, then all of a sudden realised it was a news area and thought definitely don't want to be just hanging around. You can see the market then come back quite viciously. So I got the 10 ticks out of that one, even though I wouldn't encourage trading the news. That's what's happened in that particular case with me. So that's a reversal trade there. Then the market, what's happened here? Again, I'm looking for a continuation trade or my version of the 5-minute buy. So this is the market's still moving around quite a bit here, but it's a good 30 plus minutes after the news announcement, so I'm more than happy to look at it. And what I need is the market basically come up, push through this key level, come back and use it as a resistance. So this one shows a little bit better. So here's the level here, 1408 that I had drawn through the market. You know, this is a predetermined level too. It's not just like a level for today. It's predetermined from the week. So we're dealing around here. All of a sudden, moving averages still pointing to the upside. So what I'm looking through here is the market to get through by 4 ticks at least, then come back and buy off the level. So buy off this as support and see it go higher. And you can see it's come back. So it hasn't really come back. I mean, it's come back about 3, got within 3 ticks of where I'm sitting. So that one was missed by quite a bit. But good area, really liked the area. One that obviously went quite a bit high, and we eventually got back up to then this next key level of 13.13. Anyway, that's a wrap up for Wednesday, and we're back on Thursday.